The funny thing is that like I started taking piano lessons. It's like, I don't think I've ever written a song on the piano.
Yeah.
Usually I just use that so that I could apply that to when I was working with all these software synthesizers. When I first started this record, because I couldn't play keyboards, I was working within the MIDI sequencer and I was drawing out a lot of notes and I was doing a lot of cutting and pasting to put arrangements together. And I was doing a lot of things that I'd never really worked that way before. I'd used Pro Tools before and I knew I could edit things and cut and paste and create arrangements. Because I didn't have a lot of skills on the keyboards, it was very visual and I was really writing stuff out. There was such a big visual aspect to everything I was doing. But it was funny, the record continued and I started taking lessons and I started being able to play. Before we mixed the record, I went back and ended up playing everything by hand.
Oh, interesting.
I just kind of redid everything and it's like going to school.
So really the sequencer recordings in their own way served as demos.
Yes, I hadn't thought of that, but yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. So I guess I just went back and kind of refined stuff.
If you didn't take the piano lessons and you went back and listened to the sequencer versions of the tracks, would you have released those?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't really, it ended up not being super far off from what I had originally. But it's when you're drawing MIDI notes, I noticed like a lot of times I would draw chords just right up to the next chord. And then when I went back to play it for real, there would be this space from the time it took me to pick up my hand to get to the next chord. When I started playing everything, that's what really changed. Like all of a sudden there started becoming all this air and space. And, you know, when you lay your fingers down on a chord, not every finger comes down exactly at the same time as the other fingers. And so it's like, I think when I started, everything was very quantized and rigid and square. Everything was square and like almost computer-like.
To the grid.
Yeah. So by the time I was able to get back into it, it was like, I knew what the music already sounded like. I just wanted it to sound human and not just constructed in a computer. You know, I am a player, regardless, guitar, bass, I play stuff, you know. So that's where my heart's at. And that's where my ultimate goal was, to just really try to get the skills to be able to play stuff, you know.